Only a few things in life go together as well as peanut butter and jam, love and marriage, or a horse and carriage. Romance and anime can fit that bill too. Action romance is a combination that basically is as old as time itself. Why? Because it just works. In fact, there's no offense to say that action romance anime titles are among one of the better genres in anime. To prove that point, check out these top 10 best action romance anime. But before we start, kindly be sure to subscribe to our channel and don't forget to hit the notification button so that you'll be able to get updates whenever we upload any new content. Otherwise, let's look at the top 10 best action romance anime. Number 10. Romeo and Juliet. Speaking of obvious romance titles, this show definitely takes the cake. After all, it's pretty safe to say there are no other couples in fiction more famous than Shakespearean characters. But Romeo Condorbanto Montague's tale with Juliet Fiammata Asto Capulet is much different in this anime compared to the characters they're based on. I mean, Juliet wasn't a former princess turned masked vigilante who protected the masses, and Romeo wasn't actually a son of a tyrannical prince in Shakespearean's version. What makes this show a great watch is that the romance aspect isn't dulled by the action at all. If anything, it just enhances it. Really. Number 9. Sword Art Online. And for our number 9, we have none other than the most famous isekai in anime history, Sword Art Online. One thing everyone loves about SAO is the show's first season. Season 1 holds a lot of episodes that manage to leave a lasting impression on many viewers. And if there's something which appeals to most people, it would be the romance between Asuna and Kirito, since it's definitely one of the most well-portrayed anime romances out there. It's actually the reason why SAO blew up way back then. You see, this series handles action and romance elements in a much more entertaining way compared to other similar titles. If you've yet to check this out, at least give the first season a try. Number 8. Batum. Coming up at number 8 with a bang, this is actually one of the best high-stakes survival anime ever. Batum is a story about a boy named Ryota Sakamoto, a hardcore gamer shut-in, who was mysteriously sent to an island where death comes as easy as failing an algebra test. There he meets Himiko, a high school gamer girl who's actually his in-game fiancé. Working together, these two face the dangers of the island head-on, all while a romantic relationship slowly blossoms between them. By the end of the series, they both discover and acknowledge their feelings for each other, and quite honestly, the development of their relationship did wonders for this show. It gave fans a wholesome distraction from all the violence that's prevalent in the series. Number 7. Absolute Duo. From the show's title alone, it should be pretty obvious just why Absolute Duo would be a pretty good watch for romance anime seekers. Toru Kokuno is our main protagonist, a young man who entered Koryo Academy High School to gain more power. Why? So he could sneak revenge against his sister's killer. In the academy, he meets a variety of romantic interests. The most notable is Julie Sigtuna, who is his duo, and also someone who coincidentally shares the same motivations as him. They fight their way through whatever the world throws at them as a team. Number 6. Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. Speaking of mecha-focused anime that's riddled with action and romance elements, how could we forget Gurren Lagann? In addition to having a fantastic story from beginning to end, the show also boasts a cast of highly memorable characters. And since Gurren Lagann is technically a coming-of-age story, we also see Simon's and Nia's growth as characters throughout the series. With the added benefit of seeing them grow closer towards each other every single episode, as a fan of slow-burn anime romances, you just can't ask for more when it comes to this series. It gives you everything, even intense action scenes. Number 5. Samurai X. This might be the granddaddy of all badass samurai anime. If you're familiar with the show, then it should be no surprise to see it in our video. It's a timeless classic that deserves all of the praise it has been given. Anybody who doesn't know a thing about this anime should give it a try. Sure, the animation and art style might be a little dated compared to what we have nowadays, but just the story itself makes this worthy of anybody's time. Samurai X tells the story of Kenshin Himura, a once feared and highly dangerous samurai who has chosen the path of pacifism. Number 4. Visions of ESCAFLOWNE. If you're also a fan of the isekai genre, then this anime is an instant must-watch. Set in a fantasy world full of monsters, swords, magic, and mechanized suits, Visions of ESCAFLOWNE remains one of the best action romance anime released before the 2000s. It tells the story of Hitomi Kanzaki, a once ordinary high school girl who has a slight interest in the occult. After meeting a boy named Van Fannel, a prince of the kingdom of Fenelia, her adventures take her to another world called Gaia. This is where Van Fannel's kingdom is located. Number 3. Darling in the FRANXX. What is it about mecha and romance that makes them mesh so well together? Darling in the FRANXX is an example of this, and it remains one of the most well-received romance titles to date. Now, the story is set in the distant future. The land is ruined, and humanity established the mobile fort city Plantation. Pilots produced inside Plantation live in Misseltine, also known as the Bird Cage. Children live there knowing nothing of the outside world or the freedom of the sky. Their lives consist of battling to carry out missions. Their enemies are mysterious giant life forms known as Kyoryu, and the children pilot robots called FRANXX to face off against them. For the children, riding the FRANXX proves their existence. A boy named Hito is called Code 016, and he was once known as a prodigy. However, he has fallen behind, and his existence seems unnecessary. One day, a mysterious girl known as 02 appears before him. 2 horns grow out of her head, but the blood-boiling and high-octane mecha action scenes here are nothing to scoff at either. Considering it's so beautifully animated and very compelling story-wise, it's no wonder that some anime fans consider this work of Naoki Hayashi and Hiroshi Seko a bona fide masterpiece. And at number 2, Date A Live. What makes any action romance anime a good watch? A few things, actually, but one way to tell is to check if the series is based on a romance visual novel video game, or if it spawned games after the anime was released. In Date A Live's case, both happened, which tells us just how successful this IP has been in producing action romance stories in general. And still, the anime itself holds up on its own story-wise. It also balances its romance and action elements much better than many other entries on this video. That alone makes this series worthy of a recommendation. And at number 1, Beyond the Boundary. I know you've watched a lot of romance anime, but Beyond the Boundary is not like any other. It simply stands out every single time you watch it. Beyond the Boundary is a wholesome, thrilling, and sometimes even wacky show that continuously expands on the peculiar bond between Murai Kuriyama and Akihito Kanbara, both of whom are not your typical high school students. And by peculiar bond, I mean that one of them literally tries to kill the other as soon as they first meet. You might think that's a horrible way to make a first impression, but how the relationship between these two eventually develops certainly tells us otherwise. And otherwise, thanks for watching our video. We hope you got a few shows you're gonna try, and let us know which ones in the comment section down below. I'm Mickey V, and until next time, goodbye.